Today we're going to talk about how to find the right insurance agent. And there's a lot of information that you need to know. But first, I'm going to show you this. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. This is just a spreadsheet of, what is that? The first week of February of 2015. And these are all the loads that were done with my little company. And this is the gross amount. This is the net amount after I pay for fuel and after I pay for my drivers. And this was the total for that month. The gross amount was $58,000. I cleared right at $16,000 for the month of February of 2015. And February is usually kind of slow. January, February is slow. So that's a small number. So anyway, I've done it. It's not like that I haven't done trucking, because I started with nothing and did a pretty good job. All right, so let's get to it. All right, first of all, when you're getting your authority, to finding the right agent, number one is last minute quote. If they wait around and you've called them and you've sent all your information in and all that other stuff, and they drag their feet and they finally give you a quote at the last minute, don't use them. If they're too busy to give you a quote in a timely fashion, then when you pick them as your agent, they're going to be too busy for you for everything else. That just makes sense. If the office seems too busy to handle small details, then they're not going to handle your small details when you need them. All right. Number two, ask for references. All right. They'll give you a list of the people that that are going to tell you that they love them and they're great, for whatever that's worth. Check the insurance commissioner's office in your state to see if there's any bad reports on them. And ask them about those bad reports. Another thing is just ask around. Who do you use for insurance? What's your agent's name? Is it a big, huge corporation? Is it a small one? Who are they? What do they do? My suggestion is to get as many quotes as you possibly can. Being a new entrant, you're not going to have a whole lot of options when it comes to underwriters and things like that. You're just not. All right, number three. Make sure your agent allows you to have contact with the underwriter and the finance company. Make sure that they are going to let you be able to call the underwriter, because you can call the underwriter and you can ask them to give you an audit. I mean, it's your money. You're paying them. They make money off of you. So you're the customer, and if they decide not to, then you don't need to be their customer anymore. Because, they kind of have to. It'd be kind of crazy, if they just decided not to give you the information that is your information. Also, you want to have the customer service representative in the underwriter and the finance company. You want to know them by name. You want to know who they are. Because you want to make sure that everything is on the up and up. We'll get to that later. All right. Does the agent have in-house software to produce finance agreements? As we talked earlier, the finance company is going to finance it. They're going to produce a finance agreement just like you would get if you bought a car. It's going to look exactly like that. It's going to have the total amount. It's going to have the interest. It's going to break down everything for you. It's going to look just like that. A lot of times, the finance companies will supply to their agents the software for the agent to produce the financial agreement themselves. That's kind of dangerous, but they will. So you want to ask that question. It is very, very important that you ask that question. Now, if they do, you want to ask them, what protocol does the underwriter and the finance company have to audit the agent to keep the agent from committing fraud against you, the customer. If the agent has financial software from the finance company, and I'll show you this in a little bit, the finance company doesn't really know, unless they're linked in, that the agent has done another finance agreement until the agent gives it to them and shows it to them. So the agent can produce a finance agreement, give it to you, you can sign it, and your finance company will never know it until the agent decides to let them know. So it's very important to know if they have in-house software from their finance company. This is why you want to have your customer service representatives at these places right here to make sure and back check that your agent is not doing bad things with your money, because they will. It happens a lot more than you know. Maybe a little bitty small thing here or there, but it happens a lot. So you want to back check. You don't want to be in the position to find out where's this money at? Who am I paying it to? Where is it going to? How come it's not coming back to me? All right, so number 6, how fast is a return premium sent to the finance company? 3 days or 2 months or a month or whatever. A return premium is, let's say you got 2 trucks and you take a truck off. Okay, and you paid for it for 6 months, you take it off. There's supposed to be a return premium and a calculation of what your return money is. Just say that this return premium is return money on the account of that truck. Make it simple. It's just a complicated word. What's a return premium? It's basically just return money on that piece of equipment that you've deleted the insurance on. Now, you want to make sure that it is no more than 3 days. Never use an underwriter that holds a return premium for more than 3 days. The reason, all right, I'm going to change boards out and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. All right, let's say the agent has the software to produce a finance agreement for the finance company. Okay, let's say you have 5 trucks and you want to take 2 trucks off. That leaves you with 3. Now, you send this to the agent. You delete these trucks off, 2 trucks, so that leaves you 3. The agent sends everything to the underwriter. The underwriter has to calculate everything. It goes back to the agent, and the agent is supposed to produce you another finance agreement if they have the software. If not, then the finance company is supposed to do it themselves. You know, all of these people are supposed to work in conjunction for you because you are the customer. So if this agent has the software, he doesn't have to tell the finance company. They will never know, because the only communication that's going on is between you and the agent. So when the underwriter gets it, they know, but there's no communication between the underwriter and the finance company. There's no back checks anywhere other than you. So the underwriter, and there are underwriters, when you do this, let's say you do it on the 1st of January. You take 2 trucks off, you got 3. If your underwriter decides to hold your return premium for a month, then the finance company is still going to charge you for the 5 trucks. Until the underwriter gives that money to the finance company, you still have to pay for these 2 trucks that's not on your policy for a whole month. So instead of you having to pay $3,000, you got to pay $5,000, which is your normal payment. Just because the underwriter has this policy to where they hold money for 30 days, and each law Each state has a different law about this. You need to look up your state's law. All you have to do is look up return premium law and then put your state out there. Just Google that and it comes up. In the state of Mississippi, the law is MS, Mississippi Code, excuse me, I got that backwards. Mississippi Code 81-21-21. You can look up the return premium law by just putting that in Google. Just Google that right there and you'll find out the return premium law in the state of Mississippi. They don't have one that forces any company to send your money back within 3 days. It says whenever is reasonably possible. Now that leaves them the ability to keep your money for however long they want. The problem is, if the finance company is still charging you for what is taken off on your policy from January the 1st and is forcing you to pay the same amount when you're supposed to be paying $3,000 instead of $5,000, you don't have a choice but to pay that money. And the finance company can still charge you a late fee. If you call the finance company and gripe and complain and say, hey, why are you still charging me for this? This is not my payment. Well, my situation, and this is what happened to me. This is why this fraud happened to me, and this is why I know exactly how this works. Is because I had the same thing, except mine was 7 trucks, and I took 4 off, which left, well, let's go back to 3 trucks. So my payment was $8,000, whereas it's supposed to have been 3. The agent never sent the paperwork in, and then the general agent said that they normally hold money, which was, they didn't tell me that they hold money. And then the finance company forced me to pay for the 7 trucks. So this is how I know how this works. You can call the insurance commissioner's office if you want to. They're not going to do anything for you. I called and raised Cain and they didn't do anything. So good luck with Mike Cheney's office. They're not going to do nothing for you. So you want to make sure that you find an underwriter that will return your premium within 3 days. That's why this is important, because they will force you to pay for equipment that is not on your policy. And they can do it in the state of Mississippi because there's no law against it. Now the problem is there's just lost revenue problem. They force you to pay for stuff you don't have, but yet they won't, they won't give you an audit to show you how much money they're supposed to give you back, because your return premium is supposed to be bigger because they're forcing you to pay more. This is why I say that you do not pick an agent that will not give you access to the finance company and the underwriter. Because if your agent is committing fraud and keeping your return premium and forcing you to pay the full amount to the finance company, and you have no back checks and they have no back checks, then that agent can force you to pay and pay and pay until you're paid out and bankrupt.